where there is need to extend the opening day, Waziri Education, we can extend. But otherwise, for the purposes of the country, the schools will reopen as scheduled, as planned. But where there are cases where the people on the ground, the county governments, plus the national government administration, and the directors of education in those respective counties make a recommendation to the PS, basic education, we can always extend for a few days as things settle down. I think we are quite flexible, we are quite open, and for those 64 schools, the ministry, working with the Nairobi County Director of Education, will make an assessment, and where they need to extend for a day or 2 or 3 for a week, depending on the severity of the matter, that decision will be made. I want to thank our development partners and the humanitarian agencies for coming and for in this matter. But during the worst drought in 40 years, you came through for this country and the Kenyan people. Again, during the El Nino phenomenon, you were here, you came through. Again, you are here. We are always very grateful. We want to say kudos to the Red Cross, that you are always there for the people of Kenya. And your response has always been fascinating and very effective, and we want to urge you to continue having that support. We are willing and ready to work with counties in this matter and all other matters. Tutakubaliana so that we make sure that things are going on okay. We are trying to put up about 4 billion Kenya shillings as an emergency intervention from the National Treasury, and we'll make sure at least that the NYS that is doing a lot of work is sufficiently facilitated with resources to be able to carry out the work of settling the people who need to be settled, unblocking drainages, trying to help with the dams where the water is coming from. We'll be able to put some resources to the National Disaster Operations Center, so that the people there are able to stay there 24 hours to monitor the situation across the country and propose and initiate the necessary interventions that are required. We'll be able to put some resources to the National Police Service, to the Coast Guard, and to the Ministry of Interior as coordinating and logistic interveners in this matter. The Department of ASAL will be able to provide some funds for food and non-food items so that we can harness the efforts of our development partners who are also providing food and non-food items. And I think the food bridge is the one Governor Sakaja has talked about. I have told the CS Murkomen, you mobilize contractors who are working for Kura to make sure those food bridges are restored. We are going to provide funds from the National Treasury so that we make sure children are able to go to school. I think that is something we need to do right away. We'll also be able to put some money, some resources to the roads department through the various agencies so that we can be able to restore the bridges, we can be able to make sure that we help in unblocking the drainages, and where roads have been broken, they can be restored so that people are able to go about their work. We'll be able to put some resources to the Public Health State Department to be able to make sure that we don't have disease outbreaks, to make sure that issues of cholera and malaria are contained, because where we have a lot of water that is overrunning the slums and the sanitation challenges, we could easily have disease outbreaks, and this is something that we must deal with. We have also asked the National Treasury to give priority to counties that have been affected so that they can access funds owed to them for the purposes of emergencies. And again, even where you have exhausted the funds, Governor Sakaja, you can still reallocate within your own space, because at the end of it all that money that you have is for the people of Nairobi. And if they are dead and carried by water, there will be nobody to enjoy those services. It's about 70 people have lost their lives, 22 others are injured, 8 persons are missing, 24,000 households have people displaced, equivalent to about 120,000 people, and in totality, 131,000 people are affected. I want to request our partners to give non-food items in terms of blankets, in terms of dignity packs, in terms of food and any other items that you may have for the people of Nairobi. Yesterday, we did agree that the National Youth Service will create temporary camps for those people, and we want to ask our partners to channel food and non-food items to those people who will be in those camps. And I think once we do that, we'll be able to make a lot of good progress.
Excellency, the media industry is ready to play a vital role in the flood recovery process. We are prepared to work hand in hand with government and all stakeholders to ensure a swift and effective recovery for all the affected communities.
The ground across the country is already soaked, and that means any minimal rains would lead to more damage. The most affected counties are 15 in total, of course spreading from the coastal region, central, as well as western Kenya region. As of today, we have a record of 70 lives that are lost, with 22 injuries, 8 people still unaccounted for, with the displacement of over 24,000 households, translating to 120,510 people. Those who are affected is in excess of 130,000. There is already an urgent need to support 32 counties with the distribution of food and non-food items. And he also, from that update, there is need to prioritize emergency response across the counties.
Raymond Omolo to guide us.
Partners, the NGOs and colleagues from the private sector, we primarily to give a status of displacement and flooding, and in certain presentation from all the relevant Mombasa. And then we also had delegations from a few commitments that have already been made from the private sector. And what the meteorological department is saying is that it is soaked, and that means any minimal rains would lead to more PS basic education. And there's an exercise that the team was conducting, I hope, of 70 lives that are lost, with 22 injuries. Those who are affected is in excess of 130,000. Then there was a State Department for Health, which water treatment, chemical, going as far as back when we were dealing with the El Nino emergency response. The UN humanitarian, the coordinating team on the human and water has already been sent to the counties, and then try to rationalize it, at least based on our experience, because we just come out of dealing with the effects of that the times are a bit hard. But at the same, with your permission, Excellency, I would want to stop there, because this was just to give you a highlight of what has been done. We have made this on behalf of all these members for your concern.
Will echo not just Mombasa, but I think it will echo the sentiments of all the other, Your Excellency. The onus definitely is on national government on how those resources will end up being spent, but Your Excellency, because it is what exactly happened. The last time that we did any form of, we're asking that this gets fixed. We have tried our best. Investments will definitely go down the drain.
Well, apologies for coming late. Explained, you know where we are. A lot of activity going on today in the city. As I'm sure Waziri will say, the people are very happy to see government presence. Government presence is important. And we need urgent work on those buildings.